Hello everyone and welcome to another webinar with the Small Business Center where we help entrepreneurs start, run and grow successful companies. I'm Rehan Abdulmughni, your host, and our topic today is getting free or low-cost publicity for your small business. We will start by discussing why use publicity as a marketing channel, how to get your publicity campaigns started, and then I'm going to show you 10 ways to get free publicity. Now these are actually some 10 ideas that will hopefully get you start thinking the type of things you can start your publicity campaign with. There are many more ideas than these, but hopefully this will get you start going with your publicity marketing. Then I'll show you how to engage with the media and then share with you some of the essentials for press releases. Also tell you what you need to do after you have successfully done your first publicity campaign, and then share with you some of your next steps and show you some of the resources that you can download from our LinkedIn group to start your publicity campaign. So why use publicity? The first thing you need to remember is that publicity is not about promoting your business, rather it is sharing your knowledge and sharing your story. So if you are going into publicity as a way to sell your product, it will not work very well. You need to go into publicity from the mindset that you're going to share your knowledge with other people who may find it helpful and enhance their own life or their own career. So if publicity is not about promoting your business, then why do publicity? Well, to begin with, publicity will add credibility to you and your company. The difference between publicity and advertisement is very simple. When you advertise, you're telling people how great you are, how great your company is. When you engage in publicity, there are other people who are telling the public how great you are and how great your company is. And that's the difference where credibility comes into play. When you tell other people how great you are not going to come across as credible versus as if somebody else tells other people how great you are. Publicity will also build interest and buzz in your business, and it will build brand image and brand recognition for you. However, keep in mind that this will happen only over time. Having done publicity once is not what's going to create interest and buzz. It's not what's going to create brand image and name recognition. You have to do this over a period of time before your brand image and recognition becomes established in the industry. It will, of course, also establish your business and your name as an authority, because one of the things about publicity is to show you as an expert in the field. And so if you have done enough publicity campaigns in addition to your brand image and name recognition, it will start to build you as an expert and an authority in your field. Having said that, hopefully publicity will generate traffic to your website, to your storefront, to your business, which will lead to increase in sales. So at the end of the day, yes, you are doing publicity to promote your business, you are doing publicity to increase your sales and revenue, but the publicity campaigns themselves should be designed in a way to share knowledge. So let's start with some case studies. All of you are probably familiar with Apple computers and how much Apple gets free publicity. In 2010, when Apple released the version of an iPhone, I don't remember what the version number was, but when they released an iPhone version, it is estimated that Apple received about $400 million worth of free publicity. That's a lot of money to get for free publicity. So for example, if you see an article from CNET here where Verizon iPhone, when they went on sale, CNET did a live blog. In other words, they were talking about iPhone sales at Verizon stores minute by minute, hour by hour on the live blog. BBC followed up a story about iPhone 4 release with how many people were standing in line for hours, some even having camped outside overnight to be one of the first few ones to be able to get their hands on iPhone 4. And when Apple opened a store at New York Grand Central Station, the Washington Post carried a story about the opening of the store. This is all free publicity that Apple caught simply because of the human interest story. It wasn't about the product per se. It wasn't about iPhone per se, but it was about the hype and the buzz around the iPhone. Media was interested to find out why people were standing in line for hours, why people were camping outside the Apple store overnight to buy an iPhone. What was it about this product that drove hundreds, if not thousands, of people to buy this product before their friends did? That's the story they were interested in, not about the product itself. Here's an example from 800 Got Junk, which if you are in North America, you may be familiar with. 800 Got Junk is a very well run company, very well managed company, but let's face it, at the end of the day, they are junk collectors, right? And they have been able to get some great publicity as well. Again, so why would people be interested in a junk collector and get some very positive publicity for themselves? Well, because again, there's some good human interest stories that people are interested in. There are some great information sharing stories that people are interested in. But once again, you can say, okay, 1-800 Got Junk and Apple, well, they are big companies, they got millions of dollars in revenue, and they can afford to hire staff members to be able to drive these kind of campaigns. What can a small business do? Well, here's an example from a very small company, a small wall. They actually just have one product, but if you look at their media page, you will notice that they have gotten a lot of publicity, and not just a lot of publicity, but a lot of publicity from great media organizations, and have been able to get in front of thousands and even in some cases millions of people, millions of potential customers, because they have done these campaigns very well. So if you look through some of the campaigns they have run from NBC Today, for example, a show that is viewed by millions of people every day. Chicago Tribune is another great example, a very well-known newspaper. Orange County Register. Again, these kind of stories, or rather their stories in these kind of media, is increasing their credibility among their potential customer base. So, how should you start your publicity marketing? The first thing to keep in mind is that your publicity strategy should be part of your overall marketing plan. It should not be something as an afterthought. It should not be something that you get up one day and decide to do it. It should be fairly well integrated and should work in conjunction with everything else you do in your overall marketing plan, both offline and online. The second thing to keep in mind is that you should research your industry and you should become an expert in your industry. And I will come to that point a bit later on, but it is very important that you will be seen as an expert in your industry. Then you should start to build a database of media contact. This includes not only the media organizations that you want to approach, but more importantly, the journalists and the reporters that you want to approach. And make sure also that you keep this contact list up to date. Journalists and reporters do move around a lot between organizations, and you want to make sure that your contact information about these journalists and about these reporters are up to date, and then you can reach them when you need to. And then of course you need to put together a press kit. So what is a press kit? It includes several things within the kit itself. The first one is of course the pitch letter. Pitch letter is simply an introduction letter where you will write an introduction to the journalist or the reporter, telling them why you want to do the story and why they should be interested in the story. It should also include information about your company, about products and services, and any recent press publications and articles or press releases that you have done, so that they can have some understanding of the previous press engagements that you had. And make sure that you include some good pictures. It could be a picture of yourself. It could be a group picture of all the employees of your company. It could be a picture of an event that you had recently held. It could, of course, be a picture of your products or services, but make sure it's a picture that is worth publishing. If it is a particular story that you're pitching, then include the news story that you want to promote. If it's not a particular story but an angle on a story, then you may want to include a sample news story that you're looking to promote. And include any frequently asked questions, any questions you think a reporter or a journalist may have in their mind as soon as they see your press kit. And of course include any awards that you may have won, any audio or video files that you may have, and any logos that you may want to include within the press kit itself. The media that you want to approach is, of course, the traditional media like television, radio, newspaper, and magazine, but do not ignore the new media as well. So, for example, if you look at blogtalkradio.com, which has hundreds of different topics that people talk about in a radio format. This is actually a great place for you to start if you do not currently have any media or news articles or publicity campaigns that you can include in your press kit. You can approach one of the hosts of these radio talk shows on the internet and ask them if you can participate in the next show or in their future show. This will very quickly generate some of these press releases, some of these press campaigns, some of these news stories for you that you can include in your press kit. And of course, there are many blogs out there that are read by a big audience, perhaps in your particular industry, that you can either guest blog on with them or have them interview you. And don't forget YouTube and the power of YouTube. We will do a webinar in the future about video marketing, but essentially YouTube is the second largest search engine right after Google, and therefore you should not ignore that. And I'll come back to that in just a second as well. So let's get started with 10 ways to get free publicity. Once again, I will want to remind you that this is actually just some tips that I want to throw out to you. These are some ideas that you can use as publicity campaigns, but hopefully what it will do is more than that. It will start to get you to think about other ideas that may be more relevant for your business. The first one is fairly easy: building a list. So if you write a news story about a list of something in your industry that might be useful for your potential audience. So for example, if you're in a fashion industry, you can have a top 10 list of fashion trends in 2012. If you are in real estate and you buy and help people buy and sell homes, you can do something around 9 things to do before selling your home, or how to buy a home in 7 steps. If you are a gym, or if you help people lose weight, you can do a news story about, like it is over here, easy way to lose weight, 50 plus ideas. If you are a publicist, if you are a PR specialist, you can do a list like we are doing right now, 10 tips to build your publicity campaign. And this is something that is very easy to do, very quick to do. And if you notice here, this is also something that you can put on your own website as a blog post as well. Second thing to do would be to write an interesting story. This is a story I found on BBC news site, on the business website, and the thing that I want to point out to you is a grabbing title that they have used. Their title is Trade Secrets of Oldest Family Firm in the US. So there are two things in this title that are very grabbing. The first one is trade secrets. Everybody wants to know secrets, and most of the time when you read the article you realize that they're not really secrets, they're common knowledge, but everybody is interested in knowing secrets, and therefore it's a very inviting article for people to read. And the second grabbing thing is the oldest family firm, right? Everybody wants to know the trade secret of sustainability. How can you sustain your company beyond the couple of years, beyond the couple of decades, and let it go for generations after generations? So the title itself is very grabbing, and when you're writing your campaigns, keep that in mind. Make sure that you come up with a great title for your story. Tip number 3 is to do a customer survey. Now this is not as difficult as you may think. Let me explain. When I talk about surveying customers, I'm not talking about just your own customers, but the customers of your industry. So that may include customers of your competitors as well. So you may be now thinking that that's a very difficult task, that's a very long project. Well, not necessarily so. You can always get an intern from your local university or your local college and get them to do the survey for you in exchange for course credit or class credit with their university. You can even involve their professors or their lecturers to do the survey with them. As a matter of fact, I highly encourage that you do that. because here's what's going to happen. When you publish the results, you will publish the result as being done by your company in conjunction with this university. That will add an extra layer of credibility to the survey. That will also add an extra level of credibility to you and your business, and you will now start to become that expert in the industry. So doing a customer survey can be a great way to do a publicity campaign to enhance your brand image, to enhance your expert knowledge in the industry, and also get that credibility. Number 4 is using current event. Let me give you a very quick background about this particular video. A couple of years ago, some of you may be familiar with an event that happened with United Airlines. This gentleman, not this particular video gentleman, but another gentleman was traveling with United Airlines who was a musician, and United staff did not handle his guitar very well, and they broke the guitar. He went back and forth with United Airlines trying to get them to replace or pay for the damage of the guitar, and United refused to do so. So the musician decided to write a song, and the song title was United Break Guitars, and put it on YouTube. It became very popular. It became very viral to the point that many news organizations around the world took the story and ran with the story. This include ABC, NBC in the US, include CBC in the Canada, include BBC in the UK, and essentially it was a global event, or essentially it went global and it went viral. Now this gentleman, the video shot that, or the image that you're seeing on the slide right now, he reacted very quickly about this event, and he created his own video. As you can see, it's about a 2-minute video. It's a very low quality, not professionally done, and this gentleman manufactures guitar cases that will protect your guitar during travel. So what he did is he put a camera on a tripod in front of his house, got on the roof of his house, put a guitar in the box that he manufactures, and threw it from the roof of his house, and took the camera to show that there was no damage done to the guitar, and he put it on YouTube. Now when this other video was getting all of the marketing, all of the exposure through all of these global media, and people were going to YouTube to watch this other video, the United Break Guitar video, this gentleman's video was the second one in the list. So when you went and searched for United Break Guitars, you saw the video from this other musician, but then you also saw the video by this person who makes guitar cases. So as you can see, for a very low cost, very quickly, he was able to use a current event to be able to promote his own product. And talking about videos, here's something that is done by Willett Bland. I don't know if you're familiar with this company or not. Willett Bland started their campaigns on YouTube a few years ago. They're now around for 3 or 4 years ago, and they started with a very low budget. I think it was $50 or somewhere around that. And essentially what they do, they manufacture these blenders, juice blenders, right? So if you're making orange juice, for example, you will use their blender to make juice. One of the things they do was they would blend things that were not supposed to be blended in the blender, and they put the videos on YouTube. Over here you will see a screenshot when they took the blender and they blend an iPhone. This was at the time when iPhone was really a buzz. Everybody was standing in line to buy an iPhone, and this guy took an iPhone, bought an iPhone, and destroyed that in the blender. And as you can see, they have almost 11 million views for this particular video. They have almost 120 videos, and if you go to their YouTube channel, I believe they have over 197 million views. 197 million views, right? That's the kind of exposure you can get. And at this point you're thinking, why do it if you are not going to make money out of it? So in this particular case, while they do not sell any of their blenders in these videos, they only show blending various things. their online sales, because of these videos and only because of these videos, their online sale went up 500%. 500% before from when they started these videos and a year or two after they were doing these videos on a regular basis. So that's the impact of free publicity that you can get by using something that you can provide as an entertainment, provide as a knowledge, provide as an education to your potential customers, because that will keep them in front of that will keep you in front of them constantly. Tip number 6 is to hold a competition. Competitions can be very powerful if done right. So for example, one of the things that I've seen companies do is they ask their customers to take picture of themselves with using their product, right? So if you are using their product, you take a picture and then you upload at the company's website. And the competition could be that every month or every quarter or even every year you will win an award from that competition. So what's going to happen? So for example, let's say you tell or you ask your customers to take a picture of themselves using your product and then put it up on their website, and the person or the picture with the most votes will win an award, right? So what's happened is that if I was interested in this, let's say I'm a user of your product, I take a picture of using your product and I upload that to your website, and then I will go and I will tell all my friends, or I will tell all my friends on Facebook, I'll tell all my friends on Twitter to go to your website and vote for my picture so I can win an award. And if you get all of your customers or many of your customers to do that, who will then tell all of their friends to go to your website to vote for their picture, you now are attracting hundreds, not dozens, but hundreds and potentially even thousands of people that you could not have reached before. You're reaching them to come to your website, potentially see your product, and potentially buy your product. Sponsoring a community project is also a great way. There are many charities, there are many non-profit organizations, there are many local sports teams. Your football teams, soccer teams, what have you. If you sponsor a community project, make sure that you take that sponsorship to the next level. Now, it could be something as simple as getting those organizations to put your website address on their partner page, but let's take it to the next level and see if you can do more than simply have your name appear in their sponsor list, but get your local media around that and see if you can do something by, for example, sponsoring a particular event. So for example, if you're a catering company and you cater to this organization's event, you can then make sure that the event's pictures are published in the local media with your catering company name in that media. So you can say something like catering is sponsored by, or the event catered by your company name, right? That will get you that exposure in addition to getting you to sponsor an organization. This is kind of related to your competition tip, but can you develop, for example, a yearly award that you can give to people? So you can see here of a family in front of their home that they have decorated very proudly for their Christmas, very proudly for Christmas. And there are many homes, many families who actually do that on a regular basis. Every Christmas they will decorate their home and they show that off. Let's assume you are a real estate agent. How about you develop an annual or a yearly award for the best decorated Christmas home for the year, right? In your city, and you can now create a buzz around this award where you can get the local media interested in taking pictures of these houses, publishing these pictures of their houses in their newspaper, in their TV or TV news, in the radio news, and all the pictures will also be, of course, on your website. But when you give that award, it will get the local media very excited, and they will all attend the award ceremony themselves and get you in all of these on all of these news media for a year. Now, of course, if you're a real estate agent and other people who are looking to buy or sell their homes, you will be in front of them. You will be doing something extraordinary that other real estate agents, frankly, are not doing. So this could be a very powerful way to run your publicity campaign. Do something green is kind of related to doing something that's in the news. As I said in one of the earlier tips, right? Doing something environmentally friendly happens to be something in the news happens to be something in the news almost every day around the world today, right? If you're doing something environmentally friendly, can you write a news story around that? This news story is interesting. So this news story is about a company that is a bike messenger, and they are saying, why they're better than and different than a scooter messenger, because of course scooters create carbon dioxide. Scooters pollute the environment. Bikes, on the other hand, do not pollute the environment. They're actually healthy for the person, for the bike rider, because it will build up their muscles, it will help them exercise, so they're much better for the environment. So as you can see, they're not promoting their bike messenger service, but they are saying in the story how they are a great company because they don't pollute the environment. And of course, they're also then saying in a roundabout way that they're a great company that you should do business with. And tip number 10 is publishing a research paper. This is the company who was my client when I used to work in the UK. They manufacture hand manufactured chairs that were helpful for people with back pain. So if you had a back pain and you used one of their chairs, it wouldn't cure your back pain, but it will relieve the back pain. So they did a partnership with a local university where the professor at the university did some research around that and published a research paper saying that yes, if you use this kind of chairs, these kind of chairs, that it will have the potential to relieve the back pain for you. And of course, as I said earlier, when you do surveys and when you do research paper along with a university, you get that added credibility because an unbiased, or hopefully an unbiased organization, a research education organization, is doing the research paper and telling you how good your product is. Now, as I said earlier, those were some ideas out there, and there are many, many other ideas out there that you can use to create publicity, and hopefully some of these ideas will generate the types of campaigns that you want to run in your own business. How do you engage with the media? As I said earlier, make sure that you identify the media that will reach your target audience. Don't use a shotgun approach that you send your story to every media in the hope that somebody will publish the story. Be very specific, be very targeted. Research the stories that those particular channels like to publish. Identify the journalists, identify the reporters that they like to publish those kind of stories, and then start building your contact database. Some of the places where you can do the research on publishers are bulldogreporter.com, Yahoo Media Directory, and Tello. Tello itself is a list of Twitter accounts categorized by different professionals. So there's a category for journalists, for example, and reporters who have a Twitter account, and that will make it easy for you to do some background research on these journalists. Also, find the blogs where these journalists write. Most journalists do have a blog of their own, and once you find the blog, it will give you some more idea on what kind of stories these journalists like to cover. More importantly, try and build a relationship with them using these blogs, using their Twitter accounts, by commenting on their post. And when I say commenting, make sure those comments are genuine, make sure that those comments are relevant. Do not make a comment, oh, that's a great story, now buy my product, or now that's a great story, publish my story as well. But make a relevant, intelligent comment about the post that they have made, because then that will get you in front of that journalist. And if you make enough comments, you will get to know them, they will get to know you, and you will start to build a relationship with them. And then you can create a story that is very specific to them, and that will get a bigger chance of that story being published by them. Once you have identified the media and you have identified the journalist, you should email your story to them and follow up with them in a timely manner. If they call you or email you with follow-up questions, make sure that you answer those questions in a timely manner, hopefully within 24 hours, but more likely sooner than 24 hours. Don't waste their time by waiting a couple of days before you get back to them, unless you know it's going to take you a couple of days to get back to them, in which case tell them up front that it'll take you a couple of days to get back to them. Don't send them irrelevant stories. As I've already said, make sure that you have done your research on the media, you have done your research on the journalist, and make sure you send the story that they will be interested in. And lastly, be persistent, but don't be pushy. So what's the difference between being persistent and pushy? If you send them a story and you haven't heard from them in a couple of weeks, don't be pushy by calling them or sending them the same emails, emailing them the same story, and keep asking them to write the same story or publish the same story. If they haven't published it in a couple of weeks, that means that they're not interested in that. What you can do is you can send them a different story, or you can even send them the same story with a different angle or a different slant, right? Sending them a different story is persistent, and that's okay. But sending them the same story over and over and over again and expecting them to publish that, that's being pushy. Don't be pushy, but be persistent. When you're writing your press release, make sure that on top of the page you have these three things. The first one is, when do you want the release to be published? If it's ready for publishing immediately, write for immediate release. But if it's not ready for immediate release, then write the date when you want the release to be published. Make sure that you have your contact name and your contact information included on the top of the page, your phone number and your email address at the very least. Don't send them to some web page where they have to fill out a form to ask you a question. If they have a question, you should be reachable immediately so that you can answer the question, and the quicker you answer the question, the quicker they will decide to publish your story. Keep your press release to one page and make sure that you develop a short, grabbing headline. Let's go back to the story on BBC, which was trade secrets of the longest running firm in the US, right? Make sure that it's short, the headline, and that it is grabbing. It will get people to read your story further. In the first paragraph of your press release, summarize what the news is about, and then in the next 3 to 4 paragraphs, or rather 3 to 5 paragraphs, explain what the story is a little bit more in more detail. Make sure that you include a quote from an expert, and when I say an expert, I mean you. Remember at the very early when I said that you should research your industry very well and you should become an expert. Here's why you need to become an expert, because you need to quote on these news stories from an expert, and of course you are that expert, because if you're not the expert, why are they going to be interested in publishing this news story? Make sure that you include statistics from a reliable source. This could be an educational institution like a university. It could be an industry association. It could be a government organization. But make sure that the statistics is from a reliable source. Add a picture that is going to enhance the story. Please make sure that your spelling and your grammar is correct. Make sure that the dates that you're using or any other details that you're using are correct. And make sure that your story is simple. Use short sentences because they're easier to read. And please don't include any jargons. unless if it's a story that you're publishing in a trade magazine and everybody who's going to read the story will understand the jargon. But even then, my recommendation is not to use the jargon. After you have done the publicity, you want to make sure that you get the most mileage out of that publicity. First thing you should do is, of course, publish that story on your own website. Get the clipping if it's a newspaper. Get the clipping of the audio or the video if it's on the radio station or the TV news station. Send it to your customers, but more importantly, send it to your potential customers. Post it on your social media profile. Make sure that you continue to get the most mileage out of the news story itself. And make sure that you evolve it to the next step, right? Send that news story, if it was a news story that was done locally, send it regionally, send it nationally, send it even internationally to see if you can get some more buzz going around the story itself. So what's the next step for you to get your campaigns going? First of all, what I will recommend is that you start your own blog if you don't already have one, and promote that blog on all of your social media profile. Why do you want to do that? Because when a journalist is looking for a story, one of the first things they will do is go to Google and do a keyword search around that story. And if you have a blog post, if that blog post is well publicized on social profiles, there's a chance that your blog post will come up and the journalist will see it, and if it's written well, they may contact you for the story. Do guest blogging in your industry. Pretty much every industry have a particular blog site which is very popular within that industry, and if you find that, ask them if you can do a guest blog on a regular basis for that particular website. If you are a small business expert, feel free to guest blog on our website. We are always looking for business experts to write blog posts for us. Write a press release, get it out there, practice with it, see what happens, and evolve from there. Make it better, make the news better. And once you have done your news story on a press release, evolve to other media, evolve to radio, evolve to TV interviews as well. And once again, I will recommend, don't forget the new media. Internet radios can be a great way to start your marketing campaign, or your publicity campaign for that. So that's pretty much it for our webinar today. Here are some free resources that I'm happy to send you. There are 3 PDFs that I have: 10 publicity tips, 14 ideas for promoting your business online, and of course also how to write your online press releases. These are all free, but to get them, you have to join our LinkedIn group. So if you go to linkedin.in/small business accelerator, you will be able to join our group. And once you join the group, just send me an email and I will email you these 3 PDF files. In addition to joining our LinkedIn group, you can also join us on our Facebook and on our Twitter accounts. And if you go to our Small Business Center, you can register for our other upcoming webinars. I think the next couple of webinars are going to be about email marketing, about search engine optimization, and then we are looking into doing one for video marketing as well. So that's it for our webinar today. I will hopefully see you in our next webinar.